It is Midweek Extra. It is John Gibbons. We are in association with Green King Sport. Make sure you download the app and get 10% off drinks whenever there is live sport on this weekend. And boy, is there live sport on. There's darts, footy, boxing. Oh my. Mike, what are you watching this weekend?
The Reds, obviously, and then
they're good.
Some NFL will be on as well, I reckon.
Oh, Sunday night NFL?
Yeah. And some on Saturday as well, you know. There's a couple of mad Saturday games on the cards as well.
Did they play Christmas Day or something?
Yeah, I think there's two, 3 games Christmas Day, which feels mad, doesn't it?
I love it. Imagine your mother if you went out for the match Christmas Day. Oh, she'd be fuming with you.
But it's like the Rams as well, like 70,000 stadiums, aren't they?
Well, you pay a lot for the season ticket, don't you? Do you know what I mean? You're not gonna. It's not like 20 grand a season ticket, so you're not gonna miss a game just to have another turkey. It'd be a
nightmare away day on Christmas Day, though, wouldn't it? 4 a.m. at the Rocket.
It would be. So whenever there's live sports on Green King Sport Pub this weekend, you will get 10% off, and like I say, that's pretty much all the time. So make sure you download the app, and it'll tell you where your nearest Green King Sport Pub is and how you can enjoy it. Are you a darts man, Kev?
I'm not. My brother's a huge darts fan, and I'm dreading Christmas, where he just talks about practicing in his flat playing darts and how many 180s he's got. It's not my sport, but I've always wanted to go down for Christmas to have a party.
One of my mates is going today, and he's just sent me a picture of him in like the standard like Hawaiian shirt.
Classic.
You know, I was like, so send me a picture of you at 6 o'clock. I bet you're not looking sort of quite as sharp, but there we are. We'll talk a little bit about Southampton, Abby. I'm going to ask you all for the positive from it, because we're positive people, we're good vibes only, it's close to Christmas, Liverpool are great. So what was your main, do you know what, that was great from last night?
Probably Endo. I think Endo was absolutely brilliant last night. You know, he had to come in and play that sort of centre-back role, but then when we were in possession, he was moving more into that DM, and I just thought it worked really well, and he just steps up when we need him, doesn't he? He's absolutely brilliant, and to be fair, the way he was winning his duels as well, and the height of him, I know we all say it, but you just don't expect it. I didn't even realise before we signed him he'd played more games at centre-back, apparently. I had no idea about that, to be fair, seeing it yesterday. Because when I seen that he was starting there, I was thinking, don't really know height-wise. I'm so used to the likes of Virgil and Canate being there now, you know what I mean? Ready for corners and all that to score a header. But he's absolutely brilliant. He even won a few in the air, and I was just thinking, oh my God, has this lad got a trampoline with him? I mean, I'm 5'1", so I know what it's like. Just absolutely unbelievable. So
I bet you can win it against Mike, though.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely against
no
Mike.
business.
Yeah, but no, Endo was absolutely stellar last night.
Yeah, it was interesting what they were doing with him, just to stick with you, Abby, because I noticed, especially at first, you know, with the ball, he was just sort of able to step into midfield, and without the ball, you know, he's coming back in and making a forward, and we've seen our fullbacks do that, but not our centre-half, and the fact is they've only had a day or two, really, to work on that, you know, following on from the weekend, and so it shows that the manager's backing them to adapt to things quite quickly. He's backing the intelligence of the footballers to be able to sort of do these switches, and it worked. I think it added a bit of a dimension to our play.
Yeah, no, you're spot on, definitely. It was a bit of a makeshift team, wasn't it? It did feel as though it was a bit thrown together. I mean, obviously, with injuries, you're just going to have to expect that, really, that some people are just going to have to step up in places that they're not going to want to play, even more, and having to drop back to right back, things like that, and just performed really well there. So that it just works so well, considering everything. I mean, we haven't had the best form in December that most of us would probably be wanting, but I think a game like that, for a lot of lads that aren't getting minutes at the minute, that's the sort of thing that you want to see, you know. So you know that they're there to step up, and the manager just trusts them completely. And you know, when we're going into league games now, he will be looking to the likes of them to think, yeah, maybe they can step in, even though we've got injuries. You know, even missing Canate, I thought, right, things might fall apart a little bit here. And I can't say things have been absolutely perfect without him, but, you know, stepping up like that's just great. Even to not have Van Dijk there and we still perform well, I mean, not going to be negative, so I'm not going to go on to Kwanzaa or anything like that, so just stick to Endo being absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, apparently they can all play centre-half, Mike, that's what we're learning. Whoever goes there does a stellar job, but he did do really well, and I agree with Abby, and also a point on just getting people like him minutes, and if we focus on Endo in particular, because he's the topic at the moment, the manager's not used him loads, but, you know, we have seeing him a little bit off the bench, and I think in some of these games coming up over Christmas we might see a little bit more of that. And the fact that he's got 90, he's in tough conditions as well. It looked hard to play football in from the lovely warmth of St Peter's Tavern. It looked quite sort of tricky there. So the fact that he has been able to get out on the pitch and play a full 90, if we do need him to see out a 2-1 win against Tottenham with 15 to go, he'll have benefited from that performance.
Yeah, I think that's one thing you take away from other players as well last night, but Endo in particular, because he's been there and done that for us last season, hasn't he? He was a big part of when he started playing well, being able to rest players here and there, or just actually be a part of the squad. And the fact that he did that little mad sort of, I'll start at centre half, and I'll walk forward and play on the ball in midfield, and being on the body for the likes of the younger lads around him, Naoni and what have you. It's that little bit more flexibility, and as you said, Slot's not really, shown that he wants to start him yet, and maybe he never will, because let's be honest, Gravenberch is absolutely superb this season. McAllister, it's a hard midfield to get into that, but when he is there and is a part of it, he's not miles and miles at different levels. He's on their level. He's trusted by all the players, and the manager will probably gain more trust in him the more he does things last night. And for him to have them 90 minutes, as you said, if there's a suspension or an injury or whatever around this big cluster of games we've got coming up, no, there'll be no panic from anyone really in the stands or on the pitch, because they'll know he's a very capable player. A huge lot of experience really internationally as well as at club level, and it's his second season, is it, at Liverpool? Yeah. So it's like he's well adjusted now. I think he's liking playing and training with some of the best players in the world, and if you can be a part of that, it must feel boss. So it's just a minute in the legs, him and a couple of others last night, but him, because that's such an important part of the pitch.
A bit like yourself, Kev, his dependability levels are off the scale. You just sort of, you can see you trust him, you can see his teammates do as well. And listen, the manager might disagree, but I'd keep him around forever. And he might disagree. He might go, do you know what, John, I could have more fun than this, playing more, and that's understandable too. But just for someone to be able to come in certain games and do such a solid job for you, like Mike says, with all that experience that he's got, is such a lovely gift.
Yeah, and when you consider the transfer fee that we got him for, those sort of leadership qualities are usually not very cheap. So to get him in and him be a real leader in that sort of youngish side from last night is fantastic. I feel like he was maybe written off a little bit earlier this season, and we weren't sure if Slot liked him or not. But and I saw a lot of sort of negative points about, we don't need him anymore, yada yada. But it was great seeing him come in. And like Mike says, Gravenberch's been so good. I was starting to get a bit nervous about what if he does get a knock. Is Endo going to be able to come in and do it? And I feel a bit stupid after last night. He comes in and just fills that role perfectly at centre back. And the box midfield that Slot tried out was really, really good. In possession, he could just come into that midfield, and I've never thought he's that great on the ball, but he won 11 duels last night. That's insane. Yeah. That's ridiculous. He played so well. So I'm really glad to see him get some minutes. I think he'll be getting some more, specifically probably in the Champions League, I'd imagine, considering our fantastic position, top of all the leagues. And I'm looking forward to seeing more of him.
Okay, what's your one positive from last night?
Probably Arne Slot. Just I'm really enjoying his amalgamation of tactics throughout a game. It's really, really, really interesting. I think it's a really fresh thing in the Premier League. And for us to have that sort of malleability, is that a word?
Yeah. Let's
You'll
go
take
with
it.
Yeah.
Is really impressive, especially with what you would consider a team that's maybe a little bit unexperienced, considering they're not the starting 11. I was made up with the squad that he put out. We all sort of imagine what our squads are going to be, and we think, it needs to be a really weak one, or maybe we can have a few starters. I was of the thought that it would be that lineup. I expected Chiesa instead of Nioni. So have had Elliott in the midfield, but it seems like that's what he did anyway. He saw that Elliott wasn't getting on the ball as much, and then I think after sort of 15 minutes, he moves him into midfield, and then Yoni goes out there. I really enjoyed what he did with Morton, like you say, at right back. He was really good. I watched it back this morning, and I was like, oh God, some of the challenges that he put in, some of the blocks, some of the interceptions, it was really, really good. And I enjoyed that he had Chiesa sort of coming back as well to help cover that role as well. That was really good to see. So I'm really enjoying Slot just come in and from the stands in the rain in his lovely warm seat, just pure on the blower, like changing the game left, right, and centre. And it threw Southampton off. You could tell that they sort of had a game plan, and it's a rough one. I mean, they've lost their manager. That they're looking for a bit of defensive solidity, and then you've got an 11 that is just all over the pitch. They just didn't really know how to deal with us. So I think Slot was brave. And I'm really enjoying his big brass balls.
He was brave with his substitutes as well. I thought, Abby, in that he obviously planned to give people a certain amount of minutes. And Trent Gomez, it was 45, and he's like, right, you're coming off, and Morton will move to right back, and it'll be fine. And Chimikas needs to have minutes back, so he'll do 45, and that's what he was going to do. And then he did it. But I thought that the biggest call was on McAllister, because they just scored, and he was like, no, you're coming off. And he's like, one of the most experienced players on the pitch, one of the best players on the pitch. But he's like, no, we said you're doing 60 and you do 60. And the easiest thing in the world would have been, we'll just give him another 5, just because he is so calm under possession. He looks after it really well. But I thought that was a real ballsy call as well from him to go, no, listen, this is what we've decided, and we need to focus on other tasks ahead. But also, I backed the lads on the pitch to sort it, to get us through, and they did.
Yeah, and that's exactly why he's the manager and I'm not, because literally I was thinking the exact same. I was thinking, you can't be taking him off. What are you doing? You don't know what's going to happen here. This is why he's just so much better than me, because I don't look at anything with a cool, calm and collected head like he does. He obviously sticks to the plan that he's made before the game, especially with his subs, and I think he's very brave in the way that he does it as well. Like, by being 2-1 and you're thinking, Chiesa, he just hasn't really had that game time. I've seen Chiesa getting a lot of stick today, but I honestly don't think he was that bad. I honestly think for that much time without football, to be able to come on and sort of nearly score twice, that's the type of game that you want him to be going into and to have game time in. And I think it's just really, really clever from Slot, to be honest, to be able to just manage the minutes. And he did say in his press conference, listen, like, the Premier League and the Champions League are my priority. So maybe he was just thinking, no matter what, I'm resting these legs, I'm resting Gomez, I'm resting Trent, no matter what, they're coming off. And listen, we managed to get the win in the end, and it probably, as the holders, it is important to sort of stay in it, and we all love a trip to Wembley, but at the end of the day, we've all got our eye on the 2 big ones, really, and I think he does too. And obviously from his nice cosy seat up there, he probably enjoyed that. It probably made it a little bit more exciting for him towards the end to see them get one. And he's just so professional with it. You see that more than we had with Jürgen. Maybe Jürgen was a little bit more like us in a way with his passion, and he'd sort of make more decisions in the way that I still think of things in the way of what Klopp would have done more than anything. But Slot is just this like perfectionist professional who'll just stick to the plan that he's had right from the off, and it worked out for him in the end. And now hopefully we've got some fresh legs still to go into the weekend. Yeah,
he's backing the players, but also I think a little bit of himself as well to form a cohesive unit with what he's got, Mike. And they went pretty strong. I was surprised how strong Southampton went, to be honest with you. Maybe there was a little bit of the fact that the new coach wanted to come in and get his ideas across. So maybe he thinks, well, I don't know how many games I'm going to get, so I'm going to pick the best players. I don't know, but I was surprised to see them go pretty full strength. But I thought Liverpool, with all our changes, still seemed to have a better idea of what we wanted to do, and that shows, that's a plus for the coach, really.
Yeah, maybe the Southampton thing is just the fact that he thought that we'd go slightly weaker. So
it was an opportunity.
It was an opportunity, and the new manager's gone. Shake all that off. Maybe try and kickstart something for them. But we just keep teams at arm's length, no matter who's playing, which is a mad nice thing to say. Like I don't really feel like we've ever been massively under threat for 20-30 minutes in a game. We just always seem to keep the ball well, sustain their pressure, and I think Kelleher makes one really, really good save, doesn't he? But I'm struggling to remember chances in the first half where that that cross there should have been like whatever, a ball here, we're in more trouble. I think the whole unit is just dropping back and making the team that we're playing play where we want them to play, not like getting in behind us, stretching us left, right and centre, dragging people out of position. I feel as if like that squad probably hasn't really played at all together, and it will have trained together. Obviously it's a big squad, and we've had a couple of injuries, so maybe Endo has played next to Quansah or Gomez in like one bit of shape work and training, and you know, at some point there will be some familiarity, but when it's you know, in front of thousands of people and the whistle goes and you've not really done this before, it can be weird. But we kept the ball really well. We got young lads through the games. I know Morton's not really that young, is he? He's had experience in the Championship, sort of similar levels to the you know, he probably did play against Southampton last year when he was on loan. So it's like it's not really that far out of his depth. I mean, Naomi's a really talented young lad who's had a couple of League Cup appearances now. Didn't really look out of place. You know, I feel utterly confident that every single player we bring in, even if they brought the youngster off the bench, is it
the guy we got from Chelsea?
Gamoa,
yeah. If he comes on, it's exciting for him and us, but like he's in first team training, so he's got the quality and like the belief of the manager to you belong at this level with me and these players, and you might have not enough experience, but you only get that by getting chances. And I was massively impressed at how undangerous it felt, even at 2-1. Like they have the chance where, I mean, if we're all honest, Quansah's
the one straight after the goal.
Yeah, straight after the goal.
Yeah.
And the one right at the end, he's probably lucky, Quansah, to be fair. And that's another conversation for another day, but it goes our way. And other than like, 2 or 3 after that, we're 2-0 up and I felt like we were cruising, and this is just like, isn't this nice to see that? They all know the patterns of play, they all know where to be to support each other, and it's not really a team that you're going to see in a Premier League game unless there's all sorts of injuries.
It's almost like they need, the opposition needs the stars to align to be able to score against us. It needs to be a crazy situation. I mean, the ball bounces off Endo's face and just lands in Archer's lap, and he does really well with the finish. When I first saw it, I was being a little bit critical of Kelleher. Then I saw it in slow motion and I was like, fuck, that was fast. That was so quick. There's nothing he could do about it. And it just made me think, you know, to Mike's point, you need a real golden chance to be able to score against us, which is really promising.
So what's your positive, Mike? To round us up with a positive ball of Christmas loveliness.
I'm going to say the goal scorers and the way they were taken. I mean, there's probably a slight bit of fortune around Nunez one in terms of it's not as quite a smash someone's face into your path, but it falls to him and he doesn't panic. He takes it and he needs that more than anyone in that squad, I think. And
37 goals for Liverpool now.
Yeah. I mean, it's no small feat, is it? You know, the frustration is always around about we know he can. It's just that we'd like to see it more. And there was evidence that, is he going to miss this? And I think everyone, it's not a bad thing to say. It's not because the evidence the last couple of weeks, and he takes it and we're made up. And the Elliott one as well, I'm really, really pleased for him.
Yeah.
He's had a tough run with that, hasn't he? The injury at the wrong time when you thought he might have started getting more games with the rotation. You know, he goes away on the England under 21s duty, gets the foot injury, misses out, and he's just a really good footballer, and I think he's going to be a massive part of this squad going forward in years to come. But seeing him now coming to the boil, getting a goal, that'll do loads for his confidence. He can do midfield stuff, he can do stuff on the right wing if you want to take Salah off if we're ahead in games, or want to give him a rest in other cup competitions down the line where we've got extra fixture congestion. It's just nice to have this lad coming. He scored a winning goal last year off the bench at Palace. In a massive game. He's slowly getting more and more experience because he's been in and around playing these games. We could be sitting here having the same conversation about Naoni in like 18 months' time with him getting these sorts of games, getting more and more first team training, more and more appearances. But Elliott, the age he's got, the level of experience. I seen someone doing an interview with him. And it was Bradley as well. I think it was him and Bradley, and they were asking him about the kids. And I was like, lad, come on, they're both not even shaven properly yet. They're still very young themselves. You know, that for me, the fact that them two score, Nunez obviously for more obvious reasons than Elliott, but the Elliott one, it's just a settler for him. I I've took that really well. The manager knows he can throw me in whenever he wants, and really, even Chiesa doesn't score, but the link-up play with him and Jota was quite nice to see, and gets chances. And we're getting these players back, and they're sort of showing that they can come on and do these things in matches. And Chiesa one on another day goes in, and everyone's like, he's a fantastic little option off the bench, and maybe he's a one for some minutes into the squad from other games. The more options you've got, no matter what game state you find yourself in, you can find yourself a winner. And the more these players get the confidence, then.
Yeah, it's two good goal scorers. Mike's right, isn't he, Abby, in different ways. Up front, Cody Gakpo could have got another one, but he's got loads recently and about 100 in the League Cup already. So, if you were to pick a goal scorer from the forward options, you have the two, you would go for Darwin, just because hopefully it will give him a little bit more confidence. But I give him Mike on Elliott, him not just scoring but getting the man of the match afterwards is just a reminder to him and everyone else, what a good player he is, and he is another good option for the manager at the moment, and that's great, because we've talked about midfield options a lot on these shows and sort of throughout the season, but him throwing himself into the mix, not just for midfield but also that wide right forward position as well, is a big plus for him and also the manager.
Yeah, I think if you could have picked two, like you've just said, I would have picked them two, to be fair. I feel like we've missed Elliott a lot this season. There's been times in games where I've thought if we just had Elliott's creativity and energy here, because that lad, he will literally run his legs off. He will be absolutely everywhere. And he's still got loads of energy by the end of the game. That's the mad thing for me. And you just feel as though he deserved that and he needed it. And, he's letting everyone know he's still about and he's still capable. And we've got that option there. But I think the main takeaway for me in terms of goals was definitely Nunez. I feel like Nunez needed that. He's been struggling, and what we found out is that he's learning English, and 3 of the words he does know is like shit Andy Carroll. He does know those 3 words.
Definitely, yeah.
He's learned what that actually means and what people are saying to him.
Do you think he's gone, and what have they been singing at me? And for a while they were like, no, nothing, and then someone's gone, just fucking tell him.
Someone showed him a highlight reel of Andy Carroll, and he's gone, oh, and they're calling me a shit version of this, right? Okay, but yeah, you could see how much it meant to him. He's such a passionate player, isn't he? But the keeper does slip a little bit, which gives him a little bit more time in taking the goal. I mean, it sounds terrible, but when Nunez is in front of goal in that situation, you do think, is he got the bottle here, to sort of not sky it, and he does, but the keeper does give him that tiny little bit of a second, because he does slip because the weather wasn't great, but I do think he definitely needed that, whether the keeper slipped or not. It's a good finish, and yeah, he was absolutely ecstatic to score that. So I feel like out of the 2 goal scorers, I'm more made up for Nunez, and I hope he can sort of take that confidence and build off of that now and sort of go on with it, because he is getting the pelters now. People saying January's coming up, who can we go and sign? And he sees all of that. We all know he does. He's had times where he's like deleted all his pictures of Liverpool off his Instagram and all that. He's a young lad at the end of the day. That you take these things personally, and it was great for him to be able to get the goal. I think we probably won't see him on the weekend now, though, I'd imagine. But yeah, it's the type of thing that he needs.
Yeah, like Abby says, he's unlikely to start. You wouldn't have thought on Sunday we'll come on to Tottenham, but he's probably sort of feels 5th most likely, in terms of to start it if Jota's available. But then, if you need someone off the bench, I thought he had a decent little cameo at the weekend as well. He gets obviously the assist for Jota's job, but I thought he did okay. Last night is a mixed performance from him overall, but we've talked about the conditions and it was tough for everyone really, so I don't think you can massively judge performances too much, but what you can judge is goals. And like I said, he's moving up now. It is 37. I look at Andy Carroll got 11 goals for Liverpool. So we really remember one of them because it was an FA Cup semi-final against Everton. But like it is just sort of leagues apart really. And if he can put a bit more together, then he'd be a real asset for the manager. But I sort of feel like the manager feels like he's an asset now.
Yeah, I think he offers a completely different thing to Jota, and that's what Slot likes him for. It seems like the thing that we're going for is this malleability. I'm going to use that word again. The fact that everyone can sort of play slightly different positions is, I think, a really good asset. As I say, it keeps the opposition guessing. What I liked about Nunez last night is, like Abby said, the celebration to me, I like the arrogance. That's the first time I've really seen him and been like, that's arrogant. I like that. Apart from the Community Shield against City a few years ago, when he had that, like, I'm here, I'm really good, and I know what I'm doing, so shut up. I want more of that from him, because I think that bodes him quite well. On the goal, even though the goalkeeper slipped, I like the fact that he sort of caught it in his peripheral. It's very, very number 9. You know, he just caught it and instantly shot there. It was quite instinctual. I quite like that. It does look like he's coming to the fore, but I do think Slot likes him. I think it's hard to read the manager sometimes, because he's not full of praise for anybody. Even we've got Mo Salah.
Apart from Alisson.
He absolutely loves Alisson. Who doesn't? I know, yeah. I mean, when you've got the best goalkeeper in the world, but he's got the best winger on the planet, and even then, he just kind of goes, yeah, it's Mo. So I think people read into that a bit too much, and they go, he doesn't fancy Nunez. You know, I think he does fancy Nunez. I think he offers something completely different. I think we will see a bit of him on Sunday. But again, it's just that he offers something completely different, and I think he's getting his shooting boots back, and that's the most important thing for us.
Okay, quick shout out for me for a positive win in the Cup semi-final. So a real chance to win a trophy. You love a little Wembley one, don't you, Mike?
Oh, it's on my birthday this year.
Amazing. Cheeky.
Little win there. Nice,
so do it for Mike. That's the message to everyone. Abby, what do you have Mo Salah did last night?
What do I reckon he did last night? Don't know. Maybe he's got ragdoll cats like me. I reckon he was sat with his cats watching the Reds. To be fair, like I was. I give him that. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely lovely. Okay, coming up in part 3, we are going to talk about the Spurs game, talk a little bit about what we would do with the team. But in between that and this, Neil Atkinson, I think yesterday spoke to Thomas Gorton from God Colony. So here is that.
It's Neil Atkinson, joined by Tom Gorton from God Colony. One half of God Colony, although I'm going to talk to Tom about this, I feel as though God Colony doesn't really have halves. It's a many-faceted, splintered thing with many different people collaborating in it. They've got a song that they're trying to turn into a Christmas #1 called Loss Is Not Infinite. It is with the poet Roy, and every penny raised from it goes to the programme he runs at Damien John Kelly House for Abstinence for Men. It is a living centre. But I want to start off, Tom, talking to you about God Colony first and foremost. Cool. New EP called Northwest Tonight came out this year. You've been involved in many projects, musical and artistic, around Liverpool and the wider world. It feels like this one, as I say, you're theoretically one half of it, but there's a lot of people you're working with.
Yes, and actually Northwest Tonight, you know, I think that was because we worked with, you know, since we started God Colony in like 2015.
Yeah.
And then, you know, we were working, working with a rapper called Flahio from South London, another one from New Orleans called Stash Marina. And then we went on to kind of just, you know, we invited everybody into our world and our studio basically. And I think that because we'd done that for so long, and in fact over COVID, we produced the Flahio album.
Yep.
And then we produced a soundtrack with Bobby Gillespie from Primal Scream, which was brilliant, but it's like this weird ambient folk record. It's sort of like Kurt sailing down the river in Apocalypse Now kind of thing. Working with Bobby was amazing. He was such a good laugh. It took a lot of time. And then I think I'd been in London for about 10 years and then moved back here. I'm on the Wirral. I'm a Wool, by the way. So I'm on the Wirral.
We don't care about that stuff. Go on.
Yeah.
We're Wirral curious at the Anfield Wrap.
We're all curious. Very nice. So anyway, I'm back in West Kirby. And I think like I just really sort of reconnected in a way with the place, and like, you know, I guess I felt home again, and I was scared to come home actually, because it'd been 10 years and it was, you know, it was a weird feeling, and after 2 weeks I was just like, I'd never go anywhere else now.
Well, your other half was also a DJ in Shibuku.
Yes, that's right, yeah.
And so that is part of the, you know, the ongoing relationship that the two of you have got with the city.
Totally, yeah.
And now working with people here as much as possible as well, saying out to the studio in the way in which you want it to be, you want it to sort of, I think, hook into the community. That's part of this specific project here.
Yeah.
But you're seeing that as part of, and that's hence the title as well, Northwest Tonight.
Yeah, exactly. And I think we grew up together. You know, when we met when we were about 19, something like that. It was all in clubs. You know, we were in. You know, I was playing in bands. And then I'd go and see James DJ at Shibuku. He would be DJing, like, do you remember Korova?
Yeah, very much so.
I was playing in bands, he would be the DJ on after me. So like, we wanted to capture that feeling without it necessarily being nostalgic or anything like that. We wanted to capture that feeling of when we met, and we lived together in a big house on All Road. It's like 23 of us that lived there. And, weird, it's abandoned now. It got bought, and but it's weird. You can see urban explorers going through it. Kind of into our old bedrooms. It's very weird. So we lived there. We were throwing parties all the time. We wanted to capture that feeling, that feeling of kind of the music we were into then. And kind of the excitement of it, I guess, really.
And as part of that, you ended up with this song, Loss is Not Infinite, which takes one of Roy's aspect of one of Roy's short stories from a book that he released in about 2020, and in the end, he's on the track, and you're looking to get it to Christmas number 1.
Yeah.
Which I love is a lie.
Yeah, Christmas number 1, here we come. Even if we don't get it, we did. I think we're just going to say we did.
That was like me with my book. I just said we were aiming for number 1, and you just got to keep saying it. And you don't get there, it's fine.
Yeah, no one's going to check.
No one knows anymore.
No one knows.
No one knows.
It's an information nightmare out there. So I'm just going to say it happened. So anyway, I met Roy through his book, which I loved, Algorithm Party, and I read it. And there was just this tiny little bit in it, tiny little short story called Loss is Not Infinite, which is a load of the lyrics are in there. Anyway, I read it. Do you know the song Imperfect List by Big Hard Excellent Fish, Pete Wiley's band? Josie Jones she was the female vocalist on that. Anyway, I love that. Andrew Weatherall remixed it beautifully. It's a big tune for me and James, one of the half in God Colony. And I was like, I read this and I was like, we could do something with that kind of pays tribute a little bit to that Big Hard Excellent Fish tune. Anyway, Roy had never been in a studio, done anything like that. So we recorded it with Steve Cole at Watt Studio, which is at the top of St Bride's Church, at the top of town. So we went in there and we just recorded it. And
is there a studio at the top of St Bride's?
Yeah, I used to have a practice room in there.
Really?
Yeah,
I love St Bride's.
I love it. It's absolutely amazing, and they also do really good community work there as well. But the room is beautiful up at the top, and a really nice place to record and make music. So anyway, we've got Roy in. We need to write a few more, and this is 2022. It's a long time ago. So anyway, we're just working on it for ages, and then we were like, we've got to get this out, we've got to do it. And then we were like, all right, Christmas. For some reason, it feels a bit Christmassy to me. Really reminds me a little bit of that Prefab Sprout tune, Nightingales.
I love a list record, and it feels a little bit like a list record. And I also like, it always feels to me like a bit of an end of year list. You see what I mean? And that to me, it feels, to you it can, obviously, and literally you got to write it, so who am I? But to me, it feels almost seasonal, more than Christmassy, if you see what I mean. It's got a real sort of the end of this thing, which was 2024, and here's this. That was the vibe I got from it.
Yeah, and I think it's been amazing. The response has been incredible. Like the national press, it's been all over the radio. And this is all just we don't have a team working on it or anything like that. It's just people have just loved it, which I didn't expect, even though I was also going for Christmas number 1. So kind of, a bit of a paradox there. But the response has been amazing. It also captures, I think the thing about it is that, yes, it is a list of kind of like cosmic scousers or whatever, but it could be about anywhere. It's about confusion and paranoia and hope, in a ultimately a quite mad world at the moment, and quite like alienated world perhaps, and people have just really responded to it. The amount of messages I've been getting and stuff. Also, it's great, you'll get texts being like you're on the radio. It's all of that's lovely, and we've had great coverage in the Echo. And beyond the press thing, it's just more just like the amount of messages we've received on Insta and stuff. Just people just being like, I'm obsessed with this. I can't listen. I can't stop listening to it. That's been really just nice.
There we are. Let's have a little bit of it then, right now. There we are. We said before about where the proceeds are going for it, Tom. Roy himself runs Damien John Kelly House. Do you want to explain to everyone what that is?
Sure. So Damien John Kelly House is a live-in centre in Wavertree for men in recovery. I've been there. I've got to know a lot of them very well. Obviously, Roy and Sam Batley, who directed the video for Loss is Not Infinite. He was in DJK for 2 years. And it's just, it's incredible the work that Roy, his mum, the people there, are doing. I've been in for one of their sharing sessions on a Friday where they invite guests in to kind of go and look at the work that they're doing. And it's moving. you know, in terms of just like the community that they've built and the energy that's there, and you know, they're all out going, you know, doing runs and bike rides, and you know, kind of getting their lives back together, you know, recovering.
Yeah.
You know, so we had actually quite a lot of DJK involvement in the song. So Sam, as I mentioned, directed it. PJ obviously is the vocalist, and then Stu, who plays Mr. Blobby. So Stu lives in DJK at the moment, and then there's also a nice moment in the video where Blobby is he's running off with their footy. And all the lads that tackle him, they're all DJK residents as well. So we wanted to give back to them, basically, and encourage and support the work that they're doing. It's genuinely incredible.
There we are. Excellent stuff indeed. Thank you very much to Tom. Do check out A, this song, B, Northwest Tonight, and C, in general, God Colony, and the huge numbers of fascinating people that they work with right the way across the board. Really interesting stuff. I think we'll get Tom back in at some point soon and talk a little bit more about this sort of thing. But back over to the show.
Thanks to Neil and Thomas for that, and we are going to talk about Spurs, but just firstly I just want to let you know about stuff that's going on at Anfield this weekend as part of the stadium tours. It has a very festive feel this weekend. There's loads of extra activities for kids, and on Saturday Mighty Red will be there to say Merry Christmas to everyone. It's got here for festive fun, crafts, carol singing, party games and more. Abby, what do you reckon Mighty Red's favourite carol is?
Oh God, there's probably a really funny one
There
you could
isn't,
say,
Sam,
and I
just
literally can't think of one. Why am I thinking of like Christmas songs and not even a carol?
We can do songs,
I'll
throw
just
it
say,
all in.
"Oh Holy Night's the only Christmas song that come to me." I was about to say Last Christmas. That's not a carol.
No, it's all right though. I reckon if he goes off piste a little bit, that's fine. I'm not sure he's got the range for "Oh Holy Night." I haven't heard Mariah do it. I'm not sure he's sort of got that in them. But I mean, you're going back home tomorrow. Is this enough to convince you to change your trains and get down to see Mighty Red sing carols on Saturday?
It might be, yeah. I mean, that sounds pretty epic. I've always wanted to see him as well. I've never quite had the opportunity.
You've never been in the same room.
Yeah, I might just cancel the train and just do it.
Yeah, well, there you are. There's availability on Saturday for that. So if you want to do the tours with Mighty Red, you've got to book on specific ones. But if you go to lfc.tv/tours, follow the links through from there, and it's 3 specific tours on Saturday that you can book on. But as I say, across Saturday and Sunday, absolutely loads of extra stuff for kids at the stadium tours to get you in the festive spirit. What will make me feel festive, Mike, will be top of the league. There's a great opportunity to do that. We might have to beat Spurs. Everton might do us a favour. I mean, Everton have got this takeover now, haven't they? So the power shift could be on, starting from Sunday at sort of 2 o'clock. But top of the league roast potatoes, they just hit different.
You can't get a better flavour of roast potatoes, really, can you?
You cannot. You cannot. Fuck Nigella. That is what I want to be tasting. Top of the league roast potatoes, and I fancy the rest of the business. Do you?
I do, yeah. I think it weirdly plays into our hands a little bit that they've got United tonight as we record in the Carabao. Yeah. They're probably going to have to play a stronger team. Yeah. It's an extra, we were saying before in the first part, Salah's probably at home with his cats, Virgil's knocking up some scram for his family, just all having a lovely time at home in the slippers and that. And there's Brennan Johnson and Heung-min Son having to run rings around Harry Maguire. I mean, it sounds like fun, but
it's a long way around him.
It is.
Long way around his head.
So, I think that's also may play into our hands a little bit. We've had a bit more of a rest than they will have done. We're in the semis, and we may end up facing them. Who knows? But I think Spurs are mad. I think they're utterly mad. They beat City 4-0, but as on everyone these days, and they seem to just want to throw games away sometimes. They're just the Spurs. And you normally hate cliches, but they're normally cliches for a reason. And I really fancy us there. I think they're quite open, and they may score against us. Yeah, but I don't know. It feels all like it's coming to plan. Even though, as you know, we had a couple of draws, the game cancelled, what have you. I do. The Fulham thing for me, the game before the Southampton one obviously is, we nearly come back and win that with 10 men, and it's a point and we get away with it because Arsenal drop as well. But I think we take more out of that and bounce into Spurs really and think, well, these are going to want to play football a bit more. We're going to get more chances. And with all due disrespect, we're probably just a better football team than yous. And I think everyone will be really buzzing and wanting to show that. And we've won there before, haven't we, at their ground a couple of years ago, while we weren't in the greatest of form. We're coming here top of the league and really wanting to keep hold of that, regardless of what anyone else does. If we win our games, we're top of the league, and I think that's what the players will be really focused on.
I think for a few of them last year, it'll still sting a bit, you know, with everything that happened with, I mean, Luis Diaz's non-goal and the red cards and stuff like that. Quite a few of those players, you know, are still about. And I think they'll want to sort of put that right. I mean, they'll feel like they nearly got something out of it. I mean, they did nearly get something out of it anyway. But the main motivation, Abby, like I said before, is to be top of the league. And we don't know what's going to happen in the Chelsea game before. There is still that game in hand. But, you know, you want to see Liverpool number one come Sunday night. And that'll be, I think, the main determination, as well as maybe a little bit of it. And yeah, let's do it for last year too.
Yeah, hopefully they do have a little bit of anger from last season, to be fair. I think Diaz will obviously start this one. I think he's going to go into it thinking, right, well, if you're going to disallow that one, I'm going to absolutely batter you then. So yeah, I think Spurs are a weird one. Like we've said, they are a weird one. They're so unpredictable. All the fans seem to absolutely hate the manager, but then absolutely love it when they manage to batter someone. So it's just so unpredictable. We're a much better side than most teams that they've played in this league, and we'll definitely be capable to win this one. I think it's one that the likes of Salah will be well up for. He's going to absolutely want to go into this and, you know, prove that he can do it against the top six and just be absolutely amazing. And I think going top before Christmas is just massive. I want to be sat there on Christmas Day with me Christmas dinner knowing that Liverpool are top of both leagues, nice and comfortable, and the fact that Chelsea played before us, it's just... It's not a sickener, but it's just you don't want that, do you? You want to have our points on the table before then, and I will be watching the Chelsea game, but I try not to. I do try not to watch it because my nerves are gone half the time. I was just focusing on City and Arsenal, and then all of a sudden Chelsea have creeped their way up, and now I've got something else to worry about.
There's a lot of games
life.
to watch this weekend if you're not careful. Yeah, 12:30, 5:30, then the Chelsea's at 2. Not officially on telly, but we'll find a way.
Yeah, I won't actually be watching it.
To enjoy the spirit of the Blues. Yeah, listening. They're through. It is a big one, Kev. There's no two ways about it. It is a big one, but I fancy us the bigger it is. You know, we've shown that this season, that big week, City, Real Madrid, they were probably our best performances of the season so far. So they feel like they saved the best for the big occasions, I think. Yeah,
I agree. And it's funny, you know, after Girona, the manager coming out and being honest about the performance not being to our standards for the upcoming games, and it felt like we had, you know, not great first halves. I feel like when we play Tottenham, we're always up for the occasion. Like it's weird because they're not necessarily a top 4 team, but we seem to walk into those games with a bit of a swagger, thinking, yeah, we can definitely take something from this. And I think we often tend to perform in those games. So I am expecting a good performance in the first half as well. And like Abby says, I mean, Tottenham are a bit mad. I thought they would miss their goalkeeper. And I don't really feel like they have. I think Forster's been all right. Even in the sort of shocking performances, he's not been too bad.
The opposition were targeting him a lot on free corners, weren't they? And so, you know, say what you want about Forster, he's a big guy and he's going to catch something if you put it right on his toes. And so it sort of eliminated that as a kind of a weapon for the opposition. And I think he just will generally save the stuff he's meant to, and that's okay. Yeah, I think Vicario's probably a better shot stopper, but it's funny when you lose a goalkeeper, unless you're Liverpool, you tend to look at that team and go, oh well, they're definitely weaker now. But I wish there was a little bit more at stake there. But yeah, like Mike says, I'm going to be watching their game tonight because I think that's interesting. They're going to have to both field really strong teams. Both of them need to win. But neither of them want to lose that one. So, unlike hate watching Chelsea, I'm going to just sort of watch this one because it's not hate watching if it's the cup, is it? It feels like one of those things that Arsenal fans are going to complain about, which I'm all for. To be honest with you, Mike, and it's like, oh, look at Liverpool as 3 players go off injured, and they put in an almighty thing, and it does feel like a bit of a nice one, and you listen, if I'm hearing about lucky Liverpool on Sunday night, then brilliant, because it means it's fell into our laps and we've got 3 points. Yeah, there's some sort of conspiracy out there that exactly. You know what I mean? To be fair, I don't think Arsenal fans are capable of recognising other injuries, are they? So maybe that won't be so much lucky Liverpool. It's like the turnaround. Yeah, they'll have another injury at Arsenal tonight, not Tottenham. But yeah, listen, that's ultimately all we want, isn't it? Really, is just to go into Sunday feeling like everyone's worried about Liverpool winning, because you don't want to let them get too far.
It was the whole thing that we're the only ones that have done City in one of these 90-plus point seasons. Arsenal have tried and just not quite cracked 90 points. They done it years and years ago, didn't they? The Invincible season, that was like 12 draws. That was a mad season when you go back and look at that. It's hard to do. So, and it's getting harder to do when you're dropping points and the teams around you are still picking them up. And when the teams around you drop points and you drop points, I think it must be massively frustrating for the likes of them. Chelsea have crept up, as we said, and who knows, they may stay there all season or not. It ultimately doesn't matter, though, if we take care of our business. And I think, you know, the level of experience we've got from, you know, Mo, Virgil, Ali, that leadership group, Robertson as well. He's back, isn't he? It was only 1 game suspension.
Yeah,
nice little rest.
As long as the injury's not too bad, which we haven't really heard much about, then yeah, he should be available.
He should be, yeah. So it probably does annoy them that it feels all how they've got away with that. Robertson got sent off on purpose because he got his 1 match ban and had the rest in the week and all this, that and the other maybe. I don't know, it's great to be having them things falling for us. By the way, while we're still managing with Canate out for 5 to 6 weeks, whatever that was, Bradley's out, we can't rest Trent, we have to take him off in games and potentially have the risk of losing leads, etc, etc. We're struggling along like everyone else, but we're doing it better than everyone else at the minute, and as long may that continue.
I thought it was Bradley coming on last night when it was McConnell. They look quite similar, don't they? I was like, I thought he was injured. Eyes deceived me, but it was him.
Just keeping secrets. He's just not telling everyone.
Do you think the team sort of picks itself, Abby? I'm going to suggest the team, and you let me know if you think he might do anything different. So I think up top, I think he'll go with Jota. I think the he mentioned missing training, but it seemed like a bit of a precaution. I think he'll pick Jota, and he'll obviously pick Salah, and I think Diaz because he misses out. And so those 3, Jota sort of dependent, and obviously we'll find out a little bit more in the press conference tomorrow morning, and Andy will tell you all about it in press conference extra straight after tomorrow. But midfield wise, you'd expect Szoboszlai to come back in because he doesn't feature at all. You'd expect Jones to come back in, and then I guess he'll pick McAllister, and so he'll pick Gravenberch. So
Gravenberch
so who? Yeah, so who would they? Maybe McAllister would sort of miss out, or it's a tough one, isn't it? Who's he picking in midfield? I can't decide now. Maybe Jones,
Szoboszlai, and then Gravenberch for me. I think they've had a bit of a rest. I think that's probably what he was going for. I think Jones has been brilliant this season. I think he deserves to play that game. Gravenberch, you do have to worry a little bit about his minutes. He is playing a lot, and I'm sure if he gets another yellow, he'll get a ban after that.
He's going to get it eventually, so you've just got to sort of cut for it.
Yeah, exactly. You've just sort of got to go with that.
Boxing Day off.
Yeah, shake hands on that.
Go to Paradox.
After Boxing Day off against you can come and sit and watch it with all us. Yeah, definitely. I think if Jota isn't fit enough up front, I think you'll see that Gakpo Diaz sort of Diaz through the middle, Gakpo on the left. I think you'll see that Salah just picks himself. But yeah, in terms of the midfield, it'll be Szoboszlai, Gravenberch and Jones. For me, I just think Jones deserves it. And defensively, it's a difficult one, isn't it? I think he's obviously rested Trent and Gomez there after 45, was it 45? Yeah, rested them after that. I think in terms of left back, Tsimikas come on last night and he weren't too bad, but I think obviously if Robertson's alright, I think he'll give Robertson a run out. He's getting a bit of stick at the minute, Robertson, but people are forgetting that he did pick up a knock there, you know, so you can't really blame him too much for being that bad. But yeah, I think probably see so Trent and Gomez and
Trent Gomez,
Van Dijk,
Virgil,
and Van Dijk, and then obviously Ali in goal. I think Kelleher was great last night. He did make a good save. I was the same though. I did think with their goal maybe Alisson would have saved that, but probably not, because it was a great finish. You've just sort of got to let him off with that. But Alisson, as we've said, Slot absolutely loves Alisson, so Alisson will be starting. But yeah, that'd be my team. The only sort of difference on it might be maybe Gakpo Diaz possibly, but you know, Gakpo plays last night, and I think if he can play Jota, he'll play Jota, and I absolutely love Jota, so I'd pick him.
Going through it there, Kevin, it does just feel like the midfield is maybe the only real question mark. I think having played Gakpo last night, he probably does sort of go back to the bench, and I think, like we've all said before, Diaz will be ready to go in this because of what happened last year. Midfield, so a decent player is going to miss out there, and it'll be interesting to see who it was. And normally, I'd think it would be Szoboszlai, but then he doesn't play at all. In the week after putting a big shift in. Jones isn't about, Gravenberch isn't about, so one of them, if he picks McAllister again, one of them will be missing 2 games, which is quite unusual.
Yeah, I think he will pick McAllister again. I think he fancies, we all know McAllister's quality defensively and offensively. I think he'll definitely play, and considering...
and it wasn't an injury, it was just a suspension, so there's nothing to come back from.
Yeah, and I know he's had his holidays and whatnot, but his conditioning's pretty good. He's a fit player. He looks like he's packed on quite a lot of muscle this year as well. He looks really good. I think McAllister definitely plays, and I think it's one of Jones or Szoboszlai. I think that Slot fancies one or the other if McAllister's playing.
Okay.
Gravenberch's definitely playing. So I wonder if it's going to be Szoboszlai, just because we didn't see him in the game last night, and then Jones can come off the bench if we need to change it slightly in the transition or to progress the ball slightly. Szoboszlai's done an awful lot of running for us, so it was great that he got the rest. He's incredible to watch. He makes me feel knackered when I'm watching him. It's unbelievable. But I think he's massive for us at the moment. His form's good. It was good. I was thinking when you were talking about Elliott scoring and how good it was, it's good that we've got like a scorer from midfield, because Szoboszlai gets a lot of stick for that. I think only because we know that he was a scorer.
He's got it in him. Yeah.
He's got it in him. He's scored a few blammers from sort of 30, 40 yards, hasn't he, for us? But I don't think that's his role in this team. I don't think that he's there to score goals. He's doing too much work in terms of tracking back and cutting out balls and closing down passing lanes. He can't do it all. You can't add another thing to that. We know that McAllister's got a goal in him, but I fancy Gravenberch, McAllister, and Szoboszlai in the midfield. And something tells me that with that sort of niggle that Jota had after Fulham, that he won't start. I think he might go. And Gakpo coming off, was it 62, 65 last night?
He might do Gakpo, Diaz, Salah again.
Yeah, what Abby suggested. I think he might try that 3 and then Jota off the bench for sure. And I don't think Nunez will come on unless we really need him. But we'll see. I think he'll be that front 3 in that midfield.
Jota was apparently the greatest substitute on earth based on Sosa last week, so that wouldn't necessarily... They're all good options, Mike, and that's the thing, and the players have proved it. It was really interesting to see that stat last night, to say they're unbeaten in 20 games, and it's the first time in, what was this, 95, 96 was it, that they've gone 20 unbeaten in all competitions. And you think about the great sides, under not just Klopp, but Benitez and Houllier and stuff like that. They went on those great runs, but never managed 20 unbeaten in all comps. And it just shows the level that these guys have played in. And we might have a couple of draws recently, and they always feel like drop points because of the level that Liverpool are at. But there's lots of different players who we've used in those 20 games, but whoever we've put out there, they've managed to get a result. And so it's good that we're arguing over... We're not arguing, but the discussion over would you pick him or would you pick him, because all the players that we've mentioned, and probably one or two more, I'd be completely fine if you see them on the team sheet on Sunday.
Yeah, it's a really nice position to be in, to be honest, because where we've been sort of in these title runs, haven't we, where the team's picked itself, you think very, very much a 13-14, whereas like it was the set 11, maybe 12, but it was generally, that team picks itself. And maybe you could say the same for the 19-20 thing, but maybe 2 or 3 subs either side. I always genuinely felt really comfortable no matter what team was out, and we're at a place now where I'm at the same sort of level of this, like being absolutely comfortable. You think about the substitutions there. If McAllister comes off the bench and Jota, then you're absolutely sound. We've got 2 of them coming off the bench. If it's not McAllister and Jota and it ends up being Szoboszlai and Gakpo, fine, great. Imagine being the opposition, like knackered 70 minutes in, thinking, he's going off, happy days, who's coming on? Oh, it's Jota. He's going to score. I can't be bothered with this. Or Nunez comes on, he's full of energy, running all over the place, wanting to score, wanting to kick you, wanting to do all sorts, just to get an advantage. It's an absolutely brilliant position to be in that we find ourselves in, and I'm pretty much like, I don't think you could pick a 3 in the midfield or 3 up front where I'd be upset, because you know for a fact Mo Salah's starting, you know for a fact Graven Bajic is coming in to start because he's had the rest. So like they're all ready to go, and whoever ends up being on the bench will be absolutely ready to go because they see Jota come on and score. You know, this is a game of football now which largely goes near 100 minutes pretty much every week. You know, both half times you get like 2 3s and sometimes 6s and 7s. It's a long game, and if you're on the bench, doesn't mean you're never going to get a chance. You're going to stay sharp. Like keep an eye on where you can impact the game and come on and do so. And we've got a week, haven't we? I think it's not a week, is it? Because we play Sunday and then Thursday. Yeah, so it's a nice elongated break, and then we don't play from the Boxing Day game till the 29th, which is shorter, but it still feels relatively nice.
Don't ask me what days are over Christmas.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'll turn up to Anfield when my phone tells me to. Basically, all game today, all sound up the Reds. Let's go. Okay, we'll leave it there. Hope you enjoy the weekend. Hopefully, we're all smiling come Sunday night, so we're all enjoying some top of the league roast potatoes. If you want more, looking ahead to Tottenham straight after the press conference tomorrow for subscribers. We've got press conference extra, like I mentioned before, hosted by Andy. We've also got the team talk hosted by Josh Sexton, and they'll be reacting to the press conference tomorrow. There is the Friday show going out at some point tonight or in the morning as well, which is looking ahead to all. It's tonight, Andy H just told me, thank you. Looking ahead to all the Premier League games, and like we were laughing with Abby before, they all matter now at the top and the bottom. So there we are. So lots of big games to preview and loads of interesting chats, I'm sure, on that. So we think it's a great time to subscribe. Also, gift subscriptions are available, and so if someone's nagging you saying, I don't know what to get you for Christmas, well, why not? If you're not already a subscriber to the Anfield Wrap, recommend that. If you go to the anfieldwrap.com/shop, you can buy, or someone else for you can buy 1, 3, 6 or 12 months subscriptions on there. They're digital, so they come through straight away so that we can get them ready for you or for whoever else on Christmas Day from there. Also wanted to mention Australia. It might be fucking sold out, I don't know. Like the whole of Australia is coming to see us, which is really kind. Craig Hannah's just putting more shows on all the time. We're going to be the hard and working podcasters in the Southern Hemisphere, but listen, really looking forward to it. So go on our Twitter, check out the links for there. Melbourne is on sale now. We had to wait for a couple of days to get that on, but Melbourne, 2 shows in one night is available there as well. So, but thanks a lot if you bought tickets for that. I think that is everything. All it leaves me to do is say thanks a lot to Kev, to Abby, to Mike, to Andy and Ash for making it happen as well. Have a lovely Christmas. If I don't speak to you, I'm going to speak to you loads. I'm on fucking shows every day. What am I on about? Up the Reds.